To show you how stupid this whole thing is, we played it a couple times during the campaign when Joe Biden repeatedly said, but there's one moment where he really drove it home, repeatedly said that it should not be the sex on your birth certificate that sends you to a male or female prison. It should be what sex you identify as. Now we know that biological men are going to women's prisons and raping and beating women. Apparently this is the feminist position now. Merrick Garland was asked about just that.
When it comes to federal prisons, are you aware that 1,200 prisoners are requesting to be sent from a male prison to a female prison?
I'm not, no.
Okay. What is our policy when it comes to allowing a male prisoner to be transitioned into a female prison?
I think if you're generally asking the question of how trans people are dealt with in the Bureau of Prisons, my understanding is that these are determinations about where they're placed or where people are placed in general have to do with individualized determinations regarding the security of that individual and the management of the prison. These are done on a case-by-case basis. That's my understanding.
Are you aware of any policy guidelines that they use to make that determination?
I think there is a policy guideline along the lines that I just said that they are.
I would like for the Bureau of Prisons to send it to us. Are you concerned that if a biological male is sent to a female prison, that could be a risk to female prisoners?
I think every person in prison has to be dealt with dignity and respect.
Well, every person except the chicks in the women's prison, apparently. For the record, I watched every episode of Orange is the New Black, and frankly, a women's prison seems far scarier to me than a men's prison. Libby, surprised? Yeah, I guess not surprised. So, like what?
I've talked to women who are out of prison, but who were in prison with men. I've talked to women who are currently serving time alongside men in the women's prisons. And these are real problems. Unfortunately, when you bring up something like this, why are there men in women's prisons? No one really cares because these women are already at the bottom of society. They're women. They are criminals. They, in many cases, are poor. They were already, in many cases, subject to domestic abuse and violence, which led, in a lot of cases, to their arriving in prison in the first place. So one woman that I talked to who is currently serving time in the Central California Women's Correctional Facility has told me about when men come into the prisons there, they self-ID in, they are fully intact. They have not cut off their hot dogs. Everything's still perfectly functioning. And the prisons will, they will vacate an 8-woman cell in order to accommodate one man. Jeez. Who will then be housed in that cell. They are given roommates who are women, and they end up in many cases in sexual relationships with these women. It's not just abuse and rape, but it's also the entirely changing dynamic that happens when a man enters a woman's space, and there's rivalries and things like this. This woman was also telling me about how a trans inmate impregnated a woman at the prison.
If you'd like more sane takes on our insane world, check out our direct message clips playlist. And if you want to watch more full episodes of our live roundtables, watch our roundtables playlist. They're both right over here. And to get notified of all future videos, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell.